Good night, traders. It is Thursday, November 4th, 2021, 11:12 p.m., and this is the end of the market breakdown recap. So, earlier in the day, I had recorded a video with the same exact pairs that I'm going to go over, and I had pre analysis basically explaining the moves projected for the day and possibly the next 48 hours. So I want to just go over gold to get started. We can see the start of the day is November 4th. The market was bearish, and I did have some sells in at the time of the video recording, and I did enter right below 1773 right upon the close of that 5-minute candle. Go back to the last video to check that, and I did say that I was expecting it to continue on down, but the market had made up its own mind, and I got stopped out. Upon getting stopped out of that trade, instead of going and looking for another defense, I knew I was wrong at the time, and I knew it was going to be a start of the new uptrend that was coming. And the uptrend went underway. I got in some buy orders right around 17. You guys can see 1782 shortly after I got stopped out and rode price on up. And pretty much the bull trend for the day has been exhausted, and I don't suspect it to really go up much more for the day. And so I'm looking to close out of my positions. I even have a exit signal right now in the form of a head and shoulders pattern, shoulder, head, shoulder, and neckline, and currently the neckline has been broken, so we could see a move to the downside at this point for a magnitude of maybe up to 60 pips. And so that will put this current trade of the 0.20 lot in a drawdown for the end of the day, and getting into Asian session, it can do whatever it wants, and then I basically would be giving back my profits for the day. So what I'm going to do now that I got the signal already, I'm going to close these trades out, and that is it for gold right now. When I do look at the larger time frame, I can see from the macro approach that it's unfinished business. We see that there's a 4-hour, basically a 4-hour penetration of this most recent resistance zone around 1795, but the 4-hour bar never closed above that resistance. So that's indicating that it's showing a rejection on the smaller time frame and a possibility to go down about 150 pips. So I'm actually just collecting profits, waiting for confirmation, and if that confirmation is not given, well, there is opportunity on the other ways. So looking at the downside, I do see a potential move being set up. Just might wait a few hours, go through the Asian session, and at that point, I should have more of a matured market. And also, the day isn't over yet, so wait for a daily close to determine exactly where gold is going to go next. I'm looking at this daily close right now, and it's a bullish engulfing. So it looks like it's going to be on a continuation up. And indeed, it definitely should. But just because it's a bullish engulfing candlestick on the daily doesn't mean you have to go bullish right now. Depending on how many candles this engulfed and where it's coming from, there is going to have to be some sort of retest at some point. Now, I do believe that the retest is coming sometime soon. There's 1 day left in the market, and it's going to be the weekend after that. So Fridays are known as trap days, and there's no real true area of demand in this area, in this zone right here. It's all free space. So if someone is going to take a trade to the downside, there's no traffic right now. And I wouldn't necessarily enter the trade for some shorts just yet. I'll just wait for the market to mature, because one thing that it might actually end up doing is continue trending down and making slight pullbacks, and then start to draw price back up and retest the resistance of the downtrend that is currently starting. And upon that retest of the resistance, I don't want to be caught holding a random order while price does its thing. So I'll just wait and react when that time comes. If we can get a nice 4-hour close above, preferably above this candlestick now, we could definitely see a rise about another 100 pips. And I'm going to take it about 140 pips to 18.15. But that's it for gold. Took some profits for the day and had one loss and 2 wins on gold. Now let me go on GBP AUD. You guys see I'm currently in some shorts. And this is a good time to trail your stops. So I'm going to show you all an example of where my stop is going to be trailed at. So right around 1.82645. This is about 30 pips away from current price. That's where I would put my most recent trailing stop, and it could give me a net profitable day for sure. As long as I let price continue on down, I'd be net profitable for 50 pips on the day. Now, I don't really know exactly if this is going to hit that stop, but from the looks of it, it does look like the market is on its way back down. So I'm not going to close this out. I'm actually going to just let it run. I have a profit target below for about 72 pips away. I don't really believe that it'll hit that profit target today, but it can. Only because there's only a few hours left in the market. It's about 3 hours left. You don't really know too much about how much it can move in the next 3 hours unless there's some sort of high impact news that influences it. But when we take a look at this, I don't really see any high impact news on GBP AUD that for the rest of the day that's going to influence the pair. You can see Thursday, no AUD news. And GBP, that was 6 p.m. This is all over because it's 11:20 p.m. So there is AUD news at 3 a.m., which is in a few hours for me, but that's literally the end of the day, and it's low impact. So it's not really going to make much of a difference in the move, and maybe that low impact move might spark a catalyst for price to start to climb up until the session switch over and a resumption of that trend. Looking over here, there's no GBP AUD news, or at least high impact news for the next 24 hours. So do suspect this price to either continue on down, and this would be the move for tomorrow, driving it to the lows, or a potential rally back up into highs. So that's going to be the breakdown. It's going to be just a lot of uncertainty right now, even though I am bearish. And I'll just follow up with everyone tomorrow pre-London session on GBP AUD. But as a matter of fact, I think I might actually, there's no volatility, so I might actually just leave the pair alone after today and look into getting into GBP AUD again next week. When we look at the calendar for next week, looking for high impact news in GA can be quite tricky because there's none until Tuesday. There is red folder GBP news at 9:30 p.m. my time on Tuesday. So now going back to the calendar, I see that Tuesday's a few days away. And looking at the 30-minute, like I said, it is currently in no man's land. It could definitely continue trending down, but the likelihood of that happening right now is kind of slim. I do suspect it to consolidate now and play within a range for the next few days, or next few days. That was a very bearish 4-hour bar, and I do see a potential for a retrace to happen. Now that may not happen. It could possibly continue on down, but like I said, I need some momentum. I need some volatility, and on the daily, we can see that there is a bearish closer, but it's not any real formation that I'm alert of right now. It's just kind of making a pullback after a couple of days ago. There was a bullish engulfing Marubozu candlestick and a follow through the next day confirming the up move further on GA. So GA, it's going to sound weird, but I am looking for potential moves back to the upside now. And I don't believe that's going to happen right away. That might be the move on Tuesday once it sets itself up. So that's GBP AUD. Went over gold. I have my trailing stop on that, or I'll just close out the trade before the U.S. session's over. Now I want to go to my other broker, and I also want to see how I'm doing on time. 11 minutes, awesome. So this is my other broker, and I want to go over my moves from earlier. NZD JPY had an amazing trading day. You can see that as the reflection of price on the chart. 100 pip drop today, and I caught the entire move, and I put it on my Discord before it happened. So pretty much NZD JPY was hiking up yesterday. There was high impact news in NZD, and New Zealand actually was strong yesterday. It was a bullish high impact news. So upon the release of that news, we could see price was actually climbing to a resistance area. Now that news was positive, so that strengthened NZD and gave it further reason to climb up. So there was a slight pullback, of course, that was suspected of happening. That happened today, at the beginning of the day here in Asia. And then after that pullback, it just kept on going. So normally Asian market, it goes the other way and manipulates traders, but today it actually followed through with the trend, and the remainder of the day we had London session and US session both successfully print lower lows. So it's been a very bearish day, and when I do look back at the economic calendar, there was no NZD. Sorry, apologies for this. Okay, there was no NZD or JPY news today, or high impact, but there was the OPEC meetings, and I did warn you all about that earlier on. I said that it's a all-day high impact event, so you may not want to trade often today, but instead find high quality setups and just take it one and done. And that's exactly what I did with NZD JPY. Found a high quality setup. I knew that it was bullish as of yesterday because of the NZD news, and I wanted it to continue to go up. If you look at this price right here, we can see that it looked like it was going to continue to the upside. But I realized that price was hiking, and it never really closed above the highs of this downtrend. So the downtrend was still intact. So that was one of the only reasons why I didn't want to go for a buy right there, even though it was strong. If anything, if you had a sell down below and you suspected price to go a lot farther and it hiked up like it did yesterday, that would indicate that it's more than likely going to go into a range-bound market, but it does not indicate that this trend is over. Just maybe go into a range or a consolidation, same thing, or it might just be bouncing, yeah, same exact thing. So that's exactly what happened. It reached the resistance of 81.8 and then spilled over and kept on dropping, and it broke the lows of yesterday and the day before and actually printed, you can see, new weekly lows, and we are now officially in a bear market for the remainder of the week on this pair. So that's good to know. But what else are we seeing at the moment? An oversold territory. It's an overexhaustion of the bears. It's been going down all day today and it's ripped through the floor. So where is our target next? Seeing that we also got a 4-hour close below 80.8, which is the final demand area of that small term trend. I do suspect price to continue on to the downside. Really though, this is a very nice bear move, about 160 pips to the next target zone if we're going to continue this bear move. Only thing that's really going to disrupt this bear move right now is if price starts to hike back up. And at the moment, there's nothing alerting me of a bull trend until at least 81.385. That's when I'd be looking for potentially going long. But I don't think I'm going to have to do that on Friday, mainly because there's no real value area for me to really, I don't know how to put this. This trend is just super long. And so for me to go long right now, I would have to look for something lower, on the lower end. Because if I do go long in the middle of this trend right now, I have less control. And then if I go long somewhere lower, so maybe upon some high impact news, I'll be looking to take this trade to the next area. But since it just made a breakout, it's kind of released its exposure to the masses. So the entire retail crowd could see this move. The entire retail crowd could react to this move right now. So when we go into the economic calendar, so we can see a move for NZD or JPY. There's no NZD JPY news tomorrow. There's no NZD JPY news on Monday. No high impact, at least. There's yellow folders, but we don't really care about those. Tuesday, there's no NZD JPY high impact news. Wednesday, no NZD JPY. Thursday, there's a medium impact NZD news. So pretty much next week, there's one release for NZD, and that's it. So back to the charts, that kind of supports my reason to get out of this trend right now. There's no high impacts to really push price in any direction. And so what I presume is that it's going to probably just range around for the next day. And in that case, I'm going to look elsewhere for better opportunity. Guys, don't believe that it's just going to trip down here without any type of impact to promote the move. It's not going to do that. So just sitting here expecting a large move like of this magnitude on Friday where there's no news, that's foolish. And, like I said, there's just definitely better opportunity. So right now for the week, I'm officially done with NZD JPY. I caught my move on the way up. I caught my move on the way down, and I am out. Let's look into Euro GBP. I had some longs on this pair, and we dominated the markets today with Euro GBP. I'm going to highlight today's moves, and then I'm going to go from there. So Asian session, I had a counter move, just short, trying to see how long I could take the short. The short was then stopped out because my trailing stop was moved, and upon the stop out of that trailing stop, actually had a drive to the upside, and that's where my first bull move was triggered. Right here, I had a buy stop, and it went up for about 71 pips. Before that happened, though, I did have a market order buy because I was testing out a pattern on the smallest time frames, the minute and 5, and it didn't work out. So that got stopped out. That's where this wick happened. I had a stop loss slightly below. You can see it went for a stop hunt, and it got hit, but shortly afterwards my buy stop got triggered, and I took price on up over 70 pips today. So that was a great move on Euro GBP. It's definitely bullish as of now, and I do foresee it further upside. This is a very bullish candle, so do suspect a potential pullback for a retest. But as far as anything else goes, I see a very clean run to the upside for Euro GBP. And we in fact do have some high impact GBP news. That was today. There's none tomorrow. So Euro GBP, unfortunately, I might actually leave that alone for the rest of the week as well. Take one last look. It might be a little retracement in a zone that is formed for Friday on Euro GBP. So we'll continue to just follow up, but I'm gonna leave this one alone as well. I got my pips out of this, and I'm one done for the week. And that's pretty much it. One more pair actually. I have GBP USD. Now this was not in the video, but I did take this trade, and I scaled my orders until pretty much I decided to close it. And we can see GU, very bearish day. It went down literally 176 pips today. Wow, that was a move. Now I'm a little upset because I got out of GBP USD around 1.35. And it kept on melting and went further down. Like, this went down another 55, 60 pips. So this was the trade today. They had those OPEC meetings, high impact GBP news, which was weak for the pound, and USD. Let me just check the calendar. I believe there was also USD news today. There's light impact, and there's unemployment claims. But also, do you guys know what tomorrow is? Non-farm. That's right. Tomorrow is non-farm. And you know what that means? That's right. Let's make some money tomorrow. So, let's get back to this. GBP USD upon non-farm tomorrow. This is going to be an interesting pair to trade tomorrow, and I personally would like to look for entries on this. Now, looking at a 30-minute, it's pretty intimidating to go for a long right now because all of the bearish moves that just happened. But that's also the reaction towards the negative GBP news. Let's look at it from a macro scale, though, and see exactly what it did. It drove it down to the lows of this uptrend. So it's bearish, and it has been bearish since last month, but we can see now price is definitely potentially going to climb up. So what I would like to see is some sort of pattern being formed over the next several hours. Let's go into Asia. And since it is high impact news, let me just take this off. Since it is high impact news, and it's going to be around 6 p.m. my time, so that's U.S. session. I'm going to be looking for my entries to happen around U.S. session for GBP USD, and I'm going to avoid taking any trades until U.S. session. And I have very strong reasons why. I mean, pretty much, if anything happens before then, it's more than likely going to be disrupted by the high impact news, any open positions. If open positions were not triggered before the news, then more than likely it's a part of the news, and that's probably going to get whipsawed. So for me, GBP/USD, let me just look into the minor time frames. Playing entries. For me to take GBP/USD back to the upside, right? I'll personally have to see a close above 1.355, which is about 60 pips away. And that's kind of far away from right now, but that's going to be the soonest area that I would see a potential rally from. And now, what does that mean? It means also that this is going to take time now to build its profile for the next zone to trade out of. So GBP/USD, I'm all speculative for this pair right now until I have solid confirmation that this is going to go up. But I will definitely like to follow up with you all tomorrow, right before the U.S. session. So what pair can we trade in the immediate term? There's also CAD, but that's U.S. session. There's AUD. It's medium impact news. I guess that can do something with the markets. We're looking at GBP AUD, and we're currently bearish. So that medium impact AUD news that's coming out around 6 a.m. my time. That's about six or so hours, a little over 6 hours from right now. I'll definitely be able to check back up on that trade. But as of right now, like I said, it's in no man's land. I do believe that AUD news is gonna either here's a move right here. The AUD news is either gonna push the market towards the upside, or it's gonna break and continue down to the downside. That's what I think the AUD news is gonna do for tomorrow. So we'll just get ourselves set up properly and accordingly. Gold is making its way on up. And that's it, guys. That's pretty much my recap for the day. I had a pretty profitable day on these trades, and I look forward to doing it again tomorrow. Like I said, just be aware, non-farm payroll, that's probably going to be the move either to the upside, and it's going to be very big because not only will it go to this high, I do believe it's going to hit these highs right here. So the non-farm payroll move, if it is bullish, it may go up about 200 pips on GU, probably even further, and that would be what I believe non-farm is going to do. As of right now, GBP news was weak, and so if USD news is, of course, strong, it's going to continue to the downside. But if USD news is also weak, it's going to skyrocket back up. Take a look at the macro time frame to see where I would take this. I know I already just went over this, but I just want to explain where I would take this for the breakout of non-farm. Let's just say if price sits around this low area for the next several hours until U.S. session tomorrow, and it just kind of just messes around this low, I could foresee price potentially having a nice setup to go downwards now. And where will I take this if I take it down? That's right. That might get whacked. So probably right there, 1.313. It's about 300 pips away. Will it reach there in one day? I don't know, but that is the next move that I will be taking if it goes towards the downside. So we're just in a speculative position right now. It's the end of the trading day. Not really any moves right now. And I'm just gonna close up shop, take my profits for the day, walk away, make a little withdrawal, and enjoy that. So I hope you all got some great insight from this video, and I will follow up with everyone tomorrow.